Hi, Tom. Thank you so much for joining me here this evening. Uh, Alia here. So, Tom is going to tell us a bit about himself and why he found in his low carb and all the successes.
Yeah. Well, it all starts about 20 years ago when I first found out I was diabetic. And when I first found out I was diabetic, I actually weighed just a little bit less than I do now. Uh,
Okay.
and then the first year of diabetes, I went on some metformin and I fasted for 90 days because I had a bad breakup with a girlfriend,
Oh,
and I
wow.
about 80 pounds. And my diabetes went away for a year. And then I met my wife and I got married and I started eating pasta and bread and stuff again, and all the weight came back on and I became diabetic. I fought with it over the years. Eventually became insulin dependent. I've taken Byetta, I've taken everything. I developed really high blood pressure. I was on 5 blood pressure medications. I was getting neuropathy in my feet. I had some gout in my feet. I had macular degeneration and diabetic retinopathy, so I was going blind, and it was just getting really bad. So I quit my job at the time and went to work for a hospital because I had really good insurance, and you could see doctors at the hospital for basically free. So during that time, I got a new primary care doctor, an endocrinologist, a gastroenterologist, a cardiologist, a nephrologist. I was talking to a surgeon about getting a knee replacement because my knee was going out. And I also needed to have surgery on a torn rotator cuff in my arm.
Oh, wow.
Um, so um, during that time, seeing all those doctors, listening to the diabetic nutritionists, and eating my bowl of oatmeal with a half a banana every morning and my snacks. And I just got fatter. Like every time I went back to the doctor, I put on another 10 pounds. I had to go on more insulin. I got to where I was on 300 to 350 units of insulin a day. Um, and then my last A1C, when I went in for that blood work, I weighed 458 pounds
Oh,
and
wow.
I had an A1C in the 14s.
Oh, wow.
And
It's really high.
yeah, it just became unmanageable. I asked my endocrinologist, like, why is this happening? I'm following the diet. And he'd be like, oh, well, sometimes it just happens, but he gives you this look like you're not following the diet.
Mm-hmm.
We know
Mm-hmm.
you got some hidden Oreos. But for 3 years, I've had some splurges in there, but for the most part, I was really angry and really hungry all the time. But I followed that diet,
Oh, that's crazy.
wanted to get better.
Right.
Um, So then I found keto at first about 4.5 years ago. And keto went really good at first. I lost like 100 pounds in 4 months. And just
Awesome.
it just started melting off. I think a lot of that was water because I was so inflamed and swollen.
Mm-hmm.
And then the weight loss kind of slowed down, but it continued slowly. And then well, with keto, I started at first it was a really holistic keto, just meat and low carb veggies and stuff. And then I was like, well, they have keto cupcakes and they have
Mm-hmm.
bread and they have keto this. And I knew that wasn't probably the best thing, but it's like, I'll just make myself one grilled cheese sandwich now and then with the keto bread. And it turned into 4 sandwiches a day. And I wasn't really putting that much weight back on, but my blood sugar started going up and my eyes started getting worse. I had to get
Mm.
shots in my eyes. I had to get late. They had to burn my retinas with lasers to stop the bleeding. And the other thing is on keto, I never paid attention to seed oils. I was like, it's all about carbs. That seed oil stuff is
Mm-hmm.
just meth, right? And so I started finding low carb things I could eat that were high in seed oil, like mayonnaise. A jar of mayonnaise used to last me until it expired in the fridge, and now I'm going through 3 or 4 jars in a couple weeks. And
Yeah.
so I saw a video from Dr. Barry where he's talking with a eye surgeon person, and they were saying that seed oils is the primary cause of macular degeneration.
Oh, wow.
I quit eating seed oils, and then I just slowly moved to pretty much pure carnivore. And within 2 weeks, my eyes started clearing up. And now, where I was going blind, it's like kind of like you look at the sun and you'll have that like white flashy spot kind of in your
Mm-hmm.
eye. I kind of have 4 or 5 of those spots in my eye, and they were flashing all the time. And
Oh, wow.
now I just have like 2 of them, and they only flash when I go from like really bright to a really dark room or vice versa. And they'll just flash for a couple minutes and then they're fine. So, and I've lost more weight. I'm down to about 270 pounds now.
Oh, wow. So you lost like 200 pounds, 210
Well,
pounds.
yeah, like, well, I don't know. Maybe that's 180. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, that's
458,
incredible.
yeah. And I just ordered 2X shirts. I wasn't a 6X before I started. I went from a size 54 pants to now I'm in a size 42. And I have a lot, like my knee completely has healed. It doesn't hurt at all anymore.
Wow.
My torn rotator cuff is completely healed. It doesn't hurt at all anymore. There was a time when I couldn't like move my shoulder like this, and now I can just move it all over. And I like to walk. I like to exercise. I go on 5 mile walks, and it's not every morning, but most mornings. I go to Kings Island Amusement Park here, and I spend all day walking around riding coasters that I can now fit in.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. So I mean, it's really just completely changed my life. And I have so much energy. It's just amazing the amount of energy. Sometimes it gets a little annoying because I want to sit down and relax, but I'm like, well, I could go reorganize that shelf in the shed, and I go out there and start working on it.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome. I
yeah,
mean, that's much better than just sitting down watching TV and how I used to just sit down sometimes and eat a bunch of popcorn. It's much
yeah.
better to go do something.
That's the one thing that used to be the hardest for me on keto was in the evenings. I could do good all day long, but in the evenings, I wanted a snack. And
Oh, yeah.
this morning I did have some breakfast and I did have dinner today. I usually only eat once a day, and
Okay.
I probably won't eat again till my son has a birthday party tomorrow. I'll probably eat there. We're getting pizza and having a birthday cake, but they're also going to cook up just some hamburger patties for us.
Nice.
The people in my family that my mom's mostly carnivore now.
Oh, wow.
Solved her lifelong anemia that she had to get blood transfusions for,
Oh,
and
my God.
had it
That's
since she was a
crazy.
teenager. Yeah, and she's now 78, and she doesn't have to take an iron pill. Her iron is perfectly normal. Um, and my oldest son was about as big as I was, and he's lost like 50 or 60 pounds now. So
Great. And what about your diabetes? I'm sorry, I missed that. Have you,
I'm
what's that like?
I'm no longer diabetic.
Oh, wow.
Before I eat, typically my blood sugar will be below 100. Sometimes it's 106 or something. And then after I eat, usually 135 is as high as it gets. It might get to 140, and then it
Okay.
comes down. And my morning sugars when I first take them when I'm fasting are like in the 70s and 80s. So that's perfect. Now,
Yeah,
I don't know because I haven't eaten a piece of birthday cake in a long time, but I have a feeling if I ate some sugar, it would come right back up. I'm probably
sure.
diabetic, but it's
Okay.
like, and I weigh more than when I was first diagnosed as being diabetic. So I still have some lose some more weight.
Sure. So no birthday cake tomorrow?
Nope, nope, I'm not. I'm just gonna have a hamburger patty. Yeah.
Sounds good. I have my daughter's birthday was last month in May, and I didn't do the birthday cake, but I did have like cake on my hands from passing out. So it's like, but I didn't eat any birthday cake. I tried to just taste the whip the cream, and that's it. Uh, but
It,
that's good.
it it is really hard being around other people who are still addicted to carbohydrates.
Sure,
I work
sure.
in the office and they always bring in like donuts and bagels and this stuff and put them on the free food table. And they bought us lunch the other day, but it was off this food truck that it's a meat food truck, but all their meat is barbecue with sugar in
Mm,
it and all that kind of
sure.
stuff. So I just didn't eat. And then people act weird when you don't want to take their free food. So,
Oh, yeah, I know. It's like, yeah. The very next day after my daughter's birthday, was another birthday party around here for some friends. And at first I was like, no thanks, I don't want to eat the hot dog. And then finally I'm like, I'm just gonna take the food and give it to somebody else because I feel so rude.
Yeah.
not taking the food.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like weird about it. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable. So my son ended up eating like 3 hot dogs and then later was not feeling good.
Yeah.
3 hot dogs, cake. No. Yeah, no, I get that. So that's amazing. So you're no longer diabetic. Are you off all of your medications or what's that like right now?
So there was a few weeks ago, I tried to do an extended 3-day fast. And for some reason, my blood sugar started coming up when I was in a long fast, like that next day into the 180s.
Yeah.
I went ahead and just broke the fast. I took some metformin and it kept
Okay.
doing that for a few days and then it kind of stopped again. I think that's just my liver making too much glucose and my body's still sugar insulin resistant. It doesn't want.
Okay.
Um, and I occasionally do take a lisinopril when my blood pressure still gets way too high. So my blood pressure used to be 250 or 280 over something. Sometimes
Yeah.
it hit 300 on 5 blood pressure medications. Today it's in the 170s or 180s with no medication.
Okay.
So if it starts to get up at 180, I'll take one and get it down. But it's constantly working its way down the more weight I lose. So
Wow, that's great. That's great. So it's basically as needed, but you're more or less off of them.
yeah, I was off of them for a long time, but
Oh, okay.
now I'm back on them as I'm monitoring things a little more carefully. You know,
Okay, I understand.
yeah.
Cool. So we were talking right before about the fact that you're a prepper, and that's what your channel is about, frugally prepping. So I was mentioning that I live near a volcano, and then I was curious, how would I handle that as a carnivore if I needed to, like emergency handling if a
Oh,
volcano exploded, knowing that I wouldn't get the lava where I live.
oh, so you're just talking about like ashes and the
Yeah,
lava's not.
like ashes and maybe stores will be closed. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
I
no
mean,
electricity.
yeah. So I mean, like as far as electricity, I have a generator and I have a freezer that I can run on solar, so I can keep meat in those.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
I have canned stuff that I can in bulk canning jars. I have lots of chicken and beef and pork in those. And like beef jerky, like I
Yeah.
have a dehydrator so I can make my own beef jerky. But for beef jerky to come out right, you do have to put a little bit of like honey in the mix,
Oh,
but it's very little and it's very low.
okay. Okay. Well,
Um, yeah, that probably how I would handle it. Yeah.
yeah. I'll have to think about that. Hopefully nothing happens. There's some concern about that. So is so you mentioned your son. Do you have any other family that are doing like carnivore? You also mentioned your mom, carnivore or low carb
Uh,
as a result of you doing it?
No, I have a sister who's very sick, and in fact, I mean, she has myositis, which we believe is kind of statin induced, and she's looking at switching to the carnivore and or trying to eat more carnivore, but she doesn't really like meat, so it's hard.
Sure. That would be very hard.
But my wife's very thin, but she's more carnivore, but she still eats like cottage cheese and some nuts and stuff like that that I don't necessarily eat. And
Okay.
my youngest son is very averse to eating meat. So that started when he was really young and he asked where chicken nuggets came from. I
Yeah.
told him they come from chickens. He's like, "You mean eggs?" Like, no, they grind up chickens and make nuggets out of them. And he just looked shocked, like I'm eating an animal. And then he didn't want to eat meat for years. And his
Okay.
eyes were getting really dark underneath. He's breaking out these weird sores on his face from not getting any protein. So I went and bought a bag of vegan chicken nuggets and a
Yeah.
bag of Tyson chicken nuggets. And I took the vegan ones out and threw them away and put the Tyson ones in there and got him eating chicken nuggets. And then he eventually figured out I was doing that and he still eats nuggets. I can get him to eat some steak once in a while, but he's
Okay.
very thin and healthy otherwise. I mean,
Okay. How old is he?
he's 15.
Okay. Yeah.
15 is yeah. So he's just a really thin, healthy, active kid. So
I mean, that's good. That's great.
yeah,
Yeah, my kids, they're not carnivore. I mean, they're 5 and 6, but they're eating a lot more meat these days, and they're also very thin and super active. But
Yeah,
eventually, I'd like to get them off of ice cream.
yeah,
It's kind of hard.
yeah. And I mean, I say I'm carnivore and I'm like 95+% carnivore, but
Sure.
I still eat pickles once in a while.
Okay.
I'll still have some jalapenos every once in a while, but too many of them make me kind of sore, like my muscles hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of avoiding those. I'll have a couple of spaghetti squash once in a while with
Yeah.
some Alfredo made out of heavy whipping cream, some Alfredo sauce. And I'll have some onions now and then. But really, the spaghetti squash and that stuff is really like once a month, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I don't. I most days I'm just eating beef, bacon, and eggs. So,
Nice. Yeah, that was my next question. What do you eat? Like what sort of foods do you eat? So it's just that?
um, I mean, I'll occasionally have some cheese, but not very often.
Okay.
I had like three quarter-pound beef patties for dinner tonight, and I put some cheese on them, but
Okay.
had cheese for a few weeks before that. Um, so, um, and like I have a keto mayonnaise that I make with avocado oil. I'll eat some of that now and then. Um, but normally I'm just eating the meat that I can find on sale for $4.99 a pound at this grocery store. And
Right.
sometimes bones, sometimes that's ribeyes, sometimes that's sirloin tips, and I mostly eat that. I used to eat a lot more bacon, but I really cut back on the bacon now. I don't want it as often. And I do the pasture raised eggs, which are like $8 for a dozen, but they taste delicious.
Okay.
Um, and I found the last week or two here, I just haven't been as hungry. When I first started carnivore, I could sit down and tear up a 5-pound chuck roast, and be like, oh, that's great. And
Yeah.
now I ate those three hamburger patties, and I'm starting to think tonight that maybe I should have just had two, you know.
Oh,
And
wow.
I used to get hungry 3 times a day for sure, and now I've had a whole day go by and not gotten hungry and not eaten until the next day. So it's like my body's kind of like finished healing itself now, and I think it's like, no, now you need to return to a normal weight, and we have to go through some fat. So it's telling me to eat less.
Smart. That's great. Yeah. How do you feel about like before you were doing carnivore and now, or keto or low carb, and now like your relationship with understanding your body? Do you understand my
Yeah.
question?
So like I mean, before I was even keto, I didn't have a clue what was going on, and the diabetic nutritionist told me everything wrong. But I knew somehow that losing weight would get rid of diabetes because when I fasted and I lost weight, I wasn't diabetic for a year.
Right.
So, um, and they always say, oh, you need to exercise and you need to eat just a little bit less and spread it out over the whole day. You want to spread it out into small little meals. And then keto, started watching Dr. Berry, started doing keto, started eating that. I started losing weight. I started feeling a lot better. Not as good as I feel now, but I felt better. Um, and I started to kind of understand what that was about. But with keto, like I said, I always get really hungry in the evenings. It was a lot harder. With carnivore, it's like somebody just turned the hunger off, right? Or they didn't turn the hunger off, they turned the angry hunger off, the
Mm.
hangry feeling,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so like now I'll be like, I'm hungry. Well, I'm gonna be home from work in 3 hours. I'll just get something to eat when I get home. And then I get home, like, I got a couple hours before I have to cook. And I know that I'm hungry and I want food, but I'm not like my stomach growling and I feel like I better eat right now or I'm gonna kill somebody. Um, and then like this whole part I've had now where I am not getting hungry or getting full more often or not eating for a whole day. Like I tell people that who aren't carnivore and they're like, oh, you should go to the doctor. Something's wrong. But I somehow know that that's 100% perfectly natural and normal, right? Like this feeling about hunger is the natural, normal feeling. It's the relationship I'm supposed to have with hunger, not the relationship I had when I was eating carbohydrates.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Has there been any point where you went like really off plan and you ate something and then had like an immediate adverse reaction?
Well, so the other day, it was last week, I decided I was in a hurry and I made like a big pan of broccoli and I put some dehydrated onions that I made out of my garden in there and some garlic powder. And then I put some canned chicken in there and some butter. And I stirred it all up real good. And I boiled the broccoli a long time and I ate it. And for the next 2 days, I was kind of just sick to my stomach. I was hurting a little bit. I just didn't feel good at all. And I'll still eat some broccoli now and then, but it's going to be like my little 4 or 5 pieces of broccoli, not that.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as like I've fallen off and eaten a box of donuts or eaten a whole bag of, I have not yet since I've been carnivore. Um, I have, my son got Doritos the other day at Kings Island. I had like 12 of them, and then I
Yeah.
stopped.
Okay.
And most things like bread, like I tried to take a bite of his pretzel once and it didn't even taste
Yeah.
good. Spit it back out. Um, but like most of the sugary foods, like if I took a drink of a real Coke one day, just one sip of it, and it
Yeah.
tasted sweet, it almost made me nauseous, like um,
Oh, wow.
but Doritos still taste good. I still like Doritos.
I think if I eat a Dorito, I'm gonna eat the bag and then I'll start craving Doritos and other food again. I have to be like
Yeah.
as strict for me. I have to be as strict as super possible, but I appreciate that you could eat 12 Doritos and then be like, I'm done.
Well, it was his bag of Doritos, so
Ah, yeah.
he ate them really quickly. Like if I don't buy bags of chips and bring them home anymore, but that happened a lot of times when I was on keto. There's a bag of chips. I'm just gonna have a few, and next
Hmm.
thing you're looking down like this bag's almost gone. You know, so that happened more often on keto.
Oh, sure.
Mm.
I have
Yeah,
similar experiences of being on keto, having a cheat meal, and then I'm craving carbs, and then I'm hunting for carbs. And even
yeah,
I think even when I was eating like pretty trying to be like strict and clean, even eating salad, it gave me bloat and whatever. But I would in that time I would still crave carbohydrates. So now it's like basically zero and it's a
yeah.
different story.
I mean, my first few weeks on carnivore were really I mean, they weren't as difficult as I think it is for some people because I'm coming to
Hmm.
it from keto, but
Right.
I still had some sweet cravings and I had a little square of peanut butter cookie at night before I went to bed. And then we ran out of the peanut butter cookies and we're done, and
Yeah,
but that helped get me through a few of those sweet cravings, I guess. And I still
sure.
lost um but when if I do fall off and I eat something I'm not supposed to, I just get right back on. I would say that's a lot easier now too. Like if you have something you're
Hmm.
not supposed to have, it doesn't create this huge insulin spike that leaves you craving more carbohydrates later on, at least for me. It's just kind of like, oh, I can go back to eating carnivore now. Where on keto, it was like I wanted more. It was
Yes, I totally, yeah, similar experience here for sure. For sure. So, so in your house, you don't have any junk food that's like tempting you?
not so. There is a bag of Fruit Loops or whatever over there, breakfast cereal that
It's terrible.
and I walk by that every once in a while. I think I could just have a few pieces. Um,
Yeah.
but we don't buy chips or Doritos or corn
Oh,
chips
okay.
like that anymore. He
Yeah.
likes macaroni and cheese, but
Yeah.
we make a pan and quickly hand him the pan and tell him to go eat it.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some of that that's hard sometimes, but usually it's not. I mean, I'm kind of indifferent towards most foods now. Like, I'll go to lunch with people and they'll be like, "Oh, what do you want?" I'll be like, "I'm not really hungry. I'm just gonna have a drink and talk to you guys."
Yeah.
Like, they've gone from like, "Why don't you want to eat? Are you sick?" to like, "If you can't afford it, we can pay for your lunch." It's like, no, I'm just really not hungry. Um, and I can sit there and watch them eat, and it's just another thing. It's just I'm indifferent to it. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter to me.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm the same now. Yeah. I don't want to eat my kids' French fries anymore if we're going out or
Yeah,
and it doesn't I'm like, I know what it's gonna do if I eat that French fry. I know how my body maybe not one French fry, but if I eat one, I'll eat more and then I'll feel bad
yeah,
physically.
yeah.
Maybe not like guilt bad, but physically bad. Um, so I was listening to some of your videos. So what's your relationship with Diet Mountain Dew these days?
I'm still having a few cans a day, and
Yeah. I
um,
never liked Mountain Dew.
yeah, I'm addicted to it. So before I became diabetic, I used to
Yeah.
drink a case to a case and a half a day, 24 to 36 cans of real Mountain Dew every day.
Oh,
That's like
wow.
the primary reason I became diabetic. And now
Yeah.
I switched the diet after I became diabetic, which has like it has like five carbs in a or five calories in a can, right?
Oh, okay.
Um, but I still I still love the green fizzy soda. I do, and the bubbly and the carbonated waters just don't do it for
They
me.
don't? Not
Um,
even if you put some like lime in it or something? Does it doesn't
no, I've gotten the flavored ones with lime, with lemon. They have
yeah.
one at the gas station that tastes okay, but it's not like I don't know. I still have the Diet Mountain Dew. I'm gonna try to give it up.
Yeah.
I'm also still a smoker. I'm smoking much fewer cigarettes.
Yeah.
I'm getting to where I don't really need them for the energy to try to get through the day, but I still have like these drop dead cravings. Like I need to have a cigarette right now.
Yeah.
Um, so I've quit before. I'm gonna quit again, but it's just kind of like taking everything in steps, right? Um,
Sure.
I want to stay on the diet and keep losing the weight. And if that means I need to stay with a few cans of Diet Mountain Dew and 10 cigarettes in a day, I'm going to do it for right now
Sure.
and move forward later.
Yeah, I understand. I was a smoker for 17 years, so I get it. Cigarette smoker.
Yeah.
I do get it. And then I got pregnant and it was like, oh, this is the reason I have to quit smoking. And then I just replaced it with putting a bunch of food in my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, no, I get it. Yeah. I think it's like baby steps and better progress, but I know that I'm so happy that I finally was able to quit smoking.
Yeah. I mean, I've quit for a year before. I quit for 8 months and I quit for 14 months.
Oh, okay.
And then I always started again. So I don't know why. Like one time my house cleaner that I had at the time, I was a single parent then, and
Yeah.
my house cleaner left a half of a cigarette in an ashtray on my table. Even though I didn't smoke, I still had like an ashtray sitting on the table. And I was like, you know what? I could just smoke that half a cigarette. It's not gonna hurt anything. And then later that night, I'm up at the gas station buying another pack of cigarettes. So
Yeah. Yeah. Last year, I was with my brother who's a smoker and I was visiting him and I'm like, oh man, I so want a cigarette. He's literally smoking in front of me all the time. All the time I'm with him, he's
yeah.
smoking his vape or he's smoking cigarettes. I'm like, one night I'm like, just give me a cigarette. He's like, I will not do that to you.
Well,
I'm not going to let you smoke.
the thing for me too is like your sense of smell gets better when you stop smoking.
It
And
does.
I could be driving down the road and be like, someone about 10 cars up there is smoking a Marlboro Light. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. At this point, because I've quit smoking like my son's set almost 7, like 8 years ago. Now I breathe in secondhand smoke and it like does something weird in my lungs. Like it feels really weird. So I'm glad I didn't smoke that cigarette last year.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, so if you wanted to help other people, how would you recommend people go about doing this sort of thing?
Well, I mean, it's different for everybody. And so, like, some people I usually wait for people to ask me questions like, we
Okay.
lost weight, like, what's going on? And then I talk to them about it because just telling people that you only eat meat and you feel great makes them think that you're crazy. Um,
Yeah.
and so then I'll talk to them about it, but then they'll still be, I just don't know if I can only eat meat. And so the number one thing is I tell people is you just need to commit to try it for 30 days. and then see if you feel better and if it's worth it, because I guarantee you will, right?
Sure.
The other thing is like I tell people like you can start on a good whole food keto diet and work your way down, right? But you need to avoid all the boxes of stuff from Nabisco and all these companies that say they're keto, because they're just
Mm-hmm.
avoid the Atkins chips. The Atkins chips have like 3 different seed oils in them. I mean, they're just
Oh,
terrible.
wow.
Um, and avoid all that stuff. And you just need to eat like low carb veggies, meat, heavy cream, butter, things like that. And then you can start to eliminate some of those things over time and get to where you're more carnivore. Or some people do great on that keto diet, and that's
Right.
fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Exactly.
yeah, you just have to try it, and you have to be willing to go through a little bit of carbohydrate withdrawal the first couple of weeks. Now I've heard about people getting the keto flu and getting the aches and pains and stuff, but that never happened to me. Um,
That's
so
awesome.
um, and I felt really good going carnivore in the first couple of weeks. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Other things that happened to me is I started craving like meat that's raw. Like I started eating like raw chuck roast and raw hamburger. It's like
Yeah.
before that thought of that would have made me throw up, and
Sure.
then now I'm like, well, I'm waiting on my chuck roast to cook. I'm going to cut a couple pieces off and eat that raw.
Nice.
So your tastes will change, and you'll actually start to really crave beef when you're hungry. You'll be like, I want beef again.
Mm-hmm.
um but getting people to realize that and make that change, so there's 2 things that you're dealing with people. One is that they have to be in enough pain to want to change. The pain is the precursor to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
The same like a heroin addict isn't probably going to quit heroin until they go through enough pain in their life that they realize they have to quit taking heroin, or they're going to OD on it at some point and die.
Right.
Um, and that's kind of the same way with sugary foods. You either get enough pain that you realize you need to make a change, or you slowly die. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so the other thing though that we're fighting is everybody knows heroin is bad for you, but your doctors and your diabetic nutritionists and everybody thinks carbohydrates are necessary and they're good for you, and you just have to have them in moderation, and it's okay to eat one donut as long as you only eat one, and that's just not true. Those
Mm-hmm.
foods are poisonous, and we're fighting like an FDA that's funded by big pharma, it's funded by the big
Right.
food companies, and all these recommendations that are coming out are really not true. And so getting people to understand that's not true, and getting people to understand that cholesterol isn't a nutrient of concern for overconsumption anymore. The cholesterol you eat has nothing to do with the cholesterol in your blood.
Right.
uh Saturated fat's actually good for you, and the canola oil that they said was so great, it's actually bad for you. Right? And uh, you know, so there's a lot of misinformation that people have to overcome too, and they have to be willing to learn, watch videos, do research, think about it. There aren't many doctors out there that are going to promote this way of eating. I mean, there's a few on YouTube, but there's none around me.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, so yeah, I mean, my doctor actually dropped me for being a non-compliant patient because I wouldn't take a statin and a blood pressure. So,
You're a bad person. You're
yeah.
healing your body.
Yeah. So I have to try to find another doctor. I did go to my foot doctor the other day, and at first they were kind of like, maybe there's more than one Tom, in here. They're looking through the system for another person with my name because
Yeah.
what's going on. They're like, well, back in 2017 when you came here for your shoe inserts and all that, which I had seen another foot doctor in Springfield since then, but I went back to this one because they did a better job making my inserts.
Yeah.
And they were like, you were had a lot more neuropathy in your foot, and you had arthritis in all your joints, and now it's just in your little toe on the one foot. And I'm like, well, yeah, I just eat meat now, and I've lost like 180 pounds or whatever. And they're like, really? But neuropathy doesn't go away. I'm like, apparently it does. And so doesn't arthritis, So, and they're like, I'm like,
Wow.
a lot of times I go on a 5 mile walk in the mornings and I walk around Kings Island all day and I'm always active now. So, I guess it's okay. So I actually went down a shoe size too. So it's like,
Nice. By the way, all those things are incredible. It's incredible.
yeah.
Like,
The
yeah,
other
there's so much false information and it just stops people from being able to eat the right thing, which is what they need to heal their body. It's crazy to me.
the other thing is before I started keto, I was like going to the dentist. I had to have like 4 or 5 of my teeth pulled. I'd have these root canals and they would crack and they'd have to pull that
Oh
tooth away.
no.
It was a nightmare. And luckily I kept all my front ones. It's all the back ones that are missing. And but ever since starting keto, I haven't. I mean, I've gone to the dentist for a cleaning, but there's been no new cavities or no new problems. And now on carnivore, I can really tell that my gums are going higher on my teeth. Like they're
Oh,
a lot.
great.
So that's another benefit of doing a carnivore diet.
It's crazy. So many changes, so many crazy changes. Here's what I ask everybody. Do you wear deodorant these days? Did I already ask you that?
No, I don't. I ran out a while ago, and I just don't need it. Um, I can go out and work all day in the yard because I still grow a garden, even
Yeah,
though I don't really eat much from it. I give most of it away. I mean, I might keep a
yeah,
couple of spaghetti squash, but I'll work all day gardening, cutting grass, trimming hedges. I just, all day, and I'll be sweating, but I won't stink like I used to.
right.
Yeah, you know.
And actually that's also incredible because you're a smoker. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but when I was a smoker and eating terribly also, I stank. If I forgot my deodorant, I smelled so bad. So it was
Yeah,
probably the combination of the cigarettes, but not like you smell like a cigarette. No, like my BO was like terrible when I was a smoker if
yeah.
I didn't wear my deodorant. So that's amazing that being on carnivore, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I noticed that even though I still smoke, and maybe it's because I'm smoking less, right? But
Okay.
I can definitely smell a little better and I can definitely breathe better on
Oh
carnivore.
yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I was like I had this like cough that was coming back towards the end of being on keto there, and it was like I was just coughing and coughing. I didn't know why, and that kind of went away as soon as I started the carnivore,
Oh
like
wow.
or being able to breathe.
Nice.
So,
Nice. Are there any other like magical changes that you haven't mentioned since starting this way of eating?
I'm trying to think. Like before keto, I mean, I had diabetic ulcers on my legs, that were getting pretty bad, and those have all healed up. And now, since being on carnivore, the actual scar is starting to go away, and it's starting to look like normal skin again. So, like things
Wow.
that are just healing.
Right.
And on carnivore, I heal really fast. Like I'll cut my finger or something, because I'm a network engineer by day, but I'm a mobile mechanic and stuff
Mm-hmm.
by night. So I hurt myself pretty frequently, and this it heals really fast. Like a cut used to take like a week and a half to heal, and now it'll just be gone in 3 days. It's so I'm really not
Wow.
things heal better. I don't know, but when I'm looking at old pictures, it doesn't look like I'm as gray as I used to be. So I don't know. That's even possible. But
It,
I've
I,
come to
I
accept
think
that.
it's possible. Somebody else, Dave Mack, he did a video and like his bald spot, like his hair is growing back in the last year from
Yeah,
when he
and
had a bald spot. So it's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I've started like lifting weights on the weekends too, and it's it'll be sore like the next day, and then the day after that's a little sore, and then like the muscles, I can just feel them. I'm like, wow, they're bigger. It's really crazy. And I'll get hungry more often after I lift weights and tear down my muscles. Like my
Sure.
body more protein.
Sure, absolutely. That makes sense. Yeah, no, I'm going swimming a lot these days. I have a pool that's like right outside my apartment basically. And before I had excuses, I would use it, but now I'm just using it a lot. going there a lot, playing with the kids. I'm 39. We're doing cannonballs. We're jumping, these things I wouldn't have thought of doing before because my back was like in so much pain, or my shoulder was in pain, or I
Yeah,
just didn't feel good. I just was like,
I wouldn't have said that I was depressed before, uh,
mm,
but I think I was. You know, I think I just handle depression really well, which is go to work, live your life, do the best you can, and figure
right.
it out, right. And but now I'm genuinely happy all the time. Like I genuinely, uh, I just look at the world kind of like I did when I was a child, right?
Yes.
It's like exciting to go to work and do more work. It's exciting to solve problems, to fix things, and um, like I'm just happy. I'll dance. I'll participate in a hula hoop contest with the kids at Kings Island. I don't care if I look stupid. I just don't care. I'll go out and dance. I never would dance before.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, it's like I just don't care what other people think anymore, and I just like to have fun. So that's been a big change too.
Awesome. That's awesome. I definitely had similar like aha sort of realization moments like, oh wow, look how beautiful the sky is today. Like things I felt when I was a kid. Like, so I totally understand that. Like I would have never called myself depressed, but I'm so much happier. I feel so much
Yeah,
happier. I think when you're
yeah,
not poisoning yourself full time, uh and you get those toxins out of your body and your mind is calm again, you can
yeah.
experience joy easier.
And the clarity of thought is a lot better too. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can really think of things quick. I can come up with quick little responses to jokes and stuff like that a lot easier. And
Yeah.
since most of my job is troubleshooting network problems or troubleshooting cars, I can really get in there and troubleshoot things a lot easier.
Oh, that's awesome. It's incredible when you start uh putting the right fuel in your body. Actually, you're a mechanic. I was thinking of this analogy. Tell me what you think of this. So basically, I feel like other than maybe a few people that were born with birth defects, you were born with like this perfect car, right? Your body is like this perfect self-healing car.
Yeah.
And then you're nursing. Once you're off the boob as a baby, you're put immediately onto the wrong fuel.
Yeah.
And your car immediately starts breaking down. And then you go to the mechanics, and the mechanics don't know what to put into the car either. So they give you more wrong fuel. And it's just like a progression of destroying this car. But the second you put the right fuel into it, it
It's
starts healing. What do you think of that as a mechanic?
That's true. I mean, most mechanics would start just replacing parts on it at random too, that
Oh,
fix the problem. But yeah.
that's a good point. Let's
Um,
replace that liver. Let's replace those kidneys.
yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, I didn't have any obesity problem. I was a really thin, wiry little kid through
Yeah.
the first grade. And my mom got a job working for the school as a cook in the cafeteria. And at the end of the year, she got to buy all that cafeteria food like really cheap, like
Mm,
pennies on the dollar. And she brought
yeah.
home, like, we had a big chest freezer or whatever. And she brought home all these like pizzas, the little fake pizzas, like
Right. The fake pizzas.
and like chicken patties and stuff like that. And I remember instead of going outside and playing that summer, I just sat inside, watched cartoons, and ate and ate and ate. And that's when my weight problem started. It just kept adding on after that.
Sure.
I went back to second grade fat. So,
Mhm. I
yeah,
understand. Yeah, I was like either fat or skinny as a kid, and I was normal weight as a teenager and in my 20s. And then uh I did like a crazy diet once when I was like 25, 26, something like that, where I was super low calorie. And then after that, I got the fattest I ever was at that point in my life.
yeah.
Like let's begin to destroy our metabolism. Well done.
I mean, another 70 pounds. Well, 70 to 80 pounds. I don't know exactly where I'm at. I haven't weighed this week.
Yeah.
Um, but then I will weigh less than I did when I started ninth grade.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
yeah. That's
You can
gonna
do it.
be awesome. Yeah.
You can do it. So what's your goal then? What's
One
your
190.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh, I'm right under your goal.
I'm 6'1". That puts me in a normal weight for my body. I mean,
Okay.
as of a few weeks ago, I'm no longer morbidly obese. I'm just
Yeah.
technically obese now, which is nice. That's probably like the first or second time in my adult life, like the time I fasted and now that I've
Yeah.
not been morbidly obese. Um, but yeah, and the weight's just constantly coming off. It'll either come off like a pound a day, but
Yeah.
sometimes it just waits a couple weeks and it's like I lose a pound, put on a couple, lose a pound, and then I'll wake up,
Hmm.
oh, I'm down 8 pounds, and yeah, so I don't really live by this scale.
Sure.
I do weigh once in a while because I'm curious, but
Right.
I'm not at a point where I'm like, well, I haven't lost any weight in a week. I'm eating a bag of chips, like feel so good that even if I never lost another pound, I would eat this way the rest of my life.
Yeah, I understand and I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But definitely if I was doing some other diet, which I don't even think this is a diet, but if I was doing some other diet and I wasn't losing weight, I would just go back to my old habits, or I would finish my diet and go back to my old habits. But this is
Yeah.
like different.
Yeah. Before I became diabetic, I tried the Atkins diet.
Mhm.
And at first I was losing a little bit of weight on that. But then Atkins has you move into the next step where you start reintroducing some vegetables and some other stuff. And then I would just always fail after that. So,
Yeah,
but I was under the belief back then that you have to have some vegetables eventually or you're gonna die. And now the change there is I realized I can just eat meat for the rest of my life and never ever touch another vegetable or carbohydrate and I would be perfectly healthy.
totally. Yeah, I agree completely. Nice. So what does your future look like? What are your future plans for your channel, your mechanic, and your eating?
Um, well, my eating is just gonna stay pretty much like it is.
Yeah.
I might one day try it when I get to my ideal weight, try to reintroduce some different vegetables and see what happens. But I might not, I might just eat this way because food's not a big deal to me anymore. Like I get hungry, I cook for 15 minutes and eat, and then I'm done and I'm on to other things. It just doesn't, I don't think about food that often. But as far as my channel, it's probably gonna stay about the same. My day job, I don't know. You know, I'm getting awfully tired of sitting at a desk. I want a job that has more physical activity. I'm really good at being a network engineer, but it sucks just sitting at a desk all day. I used to be thankful I had a job that I only had to sit at a desk. I'm like, man, these people out in the warehouse that are moving steel around are actually getting to do some work.
Yeah.
So, um, I might, I might kind of work towards moving my mobile mechanic business more full time and doing that and quitting my job. But it's probably going to be a year or two before I make that decision.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
And
understand.
if that happens, my channel, it's not really about prepping.
Oh,
It's
okay.
about frugal prepper. That's what I tell people all the time. It's about me and what I'm doing in my life.
Okay.
But I do have some prepping videos and I have some gun videos. I have some gardening videos and car fixing videos. So
And some carnivore videos.
yeah, it's a carnivore video. I just made
Yeah.
a carnivore playlist. So
Nice. I'll make sure I binge that. Yeah, no, I saw your short about some big gun, and I'm like, yes.
yeah, that's my AR-15, which is a legally registered SBR. You have to apply to get a special tax stamp to make it with less than a 16-inch barrel.
Oh, okay. I had
And
no
then
idea.
a suppressor for it, which is a legally registered suppressor that you have to get a tax stamp to be legally allowed to own it. You have to set up like a gun trust and fill out all this paperwork, send in passport photos, fingerprints, and you have to wait months and months. It took like 9 months for my silencer paperwork to come back. So
Oh wow. I don't know what state you're in. So where are you?
I'm in Ohio. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
So some states have laws that you can't own any of those NFA items, but Ohio
Sure.
pretty open to it. And I really like to shoot my guns at an indoor range. And a short barreled SBR is really loud, even with hearing protection on. And that silencer just makes it nice and quiet and comfortable to shoot, you
Oh,
know.
sure. Okay, now I understand the point. I was
Yeah,
just like, yes, guns.
yeah.
I might lose subscribers after this one.
I I have guns, but I'm not a crazy anti-government conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, good.
I like uh, I just like to shoot, and I shoot competitively. I shoot for fun. I target shoot, trap shoot. I just shoot. I enjoy
Yeah,
it, you know.
great. That's great. I don't personally own any, but
Yeah, I mean, I've
but I'm
never shot
happy people have
anything.
that right. That's what's
Never
part
shot
of being
anything.
the living in the US. You have
Yeah,
that right.
I've never shot anything other than like a paper target at the range. You know, I mean,
No,
like,
not even like you haven't
well,
shot any food.
well, I did have to shoot a pit bull once that was attacking my son. Like, well, I just like 13 years ago when he was really
Yeah,
young, and I didn't have a choice, and it was
sure.
one kill. Uh,
Yeah.
the dog was eating one of my cats, and then we came outside, and I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And the pit bull went after my son. He ran out the door behind me, so
Oh man.
I had to do it because he just killed
Sure.
him, and he was going to kill my son. But
Yeah, exactly.
normally,
You don't
like
think
dogs.
twice.
Normally, I like dogs more than I like people. So,
I wouldn't have thought so. I would have You're a very good conversationalist.
yeah. I mean, our last dog that we got was actually found as a stray, was starving to death, had a broken hip from getting hit by a car. I mean, she was in bad shape, and we've had her about a year now, and she's all healed and healthy. And she likes the carnivore diet as much as I do. I mean, she the
That's
meat. And
nice.
yeah.
I think dogs they can eat like a bit leaner meat, right?
Yeah, but she likes the fat. She'll eat the fat. But I try to eat more of the fatty parts and give her the more protein parts because they like more protein. Yeah.
Right. Right. Maybe that was ancestrally like people eating the fatty meats and then giving the scraps to the dog so they got used to the protein. I'm just guessing. I have no idea.
Yeah. Or I don't know. I mean, she's built a lot of muscle since we've got her. I mean, she was completely emaciated and starving to death, and now she's a really buff, strong dog.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for saving that pup.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I usually try it when we're due for a dog. Like our last dog, our boxer died from liver cancer. So it was like the best way to honor him was to go find another dog that really needs a home. So I go down to the Humane Society and I adopt the least likely to be adopted dog.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, we're not ready for dogs yet, but we will. We keep talking about it, me
Yeah.
and my husband. When the kids are a little bit better, or bigger, we said when they can read a book about how to take care of a dog, we'll get a dog.
At one time we had four and that got a little crazy. Then we just kind of let them die off and now
Yeah.
we're just down to one.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little easier.
It was really hard when you want to go on vacation and you have to pay to put those dogs in a kennel.
Yeah.
It's last time we went to Florida for like a week and we got back and it was like over $1,000.
What? That's crazy. That is
Yeah,
so crazy. It's like half the price of your vacation is to take care of the dog.
yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, so curious, is there anything else you want to say about anything? Say
I would
anything.
I tell people, one of the things I like to talk about is I like to help people that were in my situation. So you don't have to be sick, you don't have to be diabetic, you don't have to be obese, you don't have to get heart disease, you don't have to get cancer, you don't have to get Alzheimer's and dementia, you don't have to have gout, you don't have to go blind, you don't have to have your legs chopped off, you don't have to go on kidney dialysis. All you
Mhm.
have to do is just eat meat and you can heal yourself. And that's the most important thing. no matter what medical condition you have, I always say, are you human? Then eating a proper human diet is going to help you, right? And um, like just really consider that and realize that the doctors that are giving you pills, they're just they're just following their little training program of like, if they have this condition, give them this pill, unless it interferes with this other pill, then give them this one. And they're really good at that, but they don't
Mhm.
know anything about the real nutrition. It's starting to change. More doctors are becoming more aware, but it's just going to take time. And the surgeries and the pills and the doctors are not the answer to your problem. It's what you're sticking in your mouth. You have to change that, and then you can start to heal yourself and live a hopefully a long and healthy, happy life. So that's what I like to say.
Thank you. That's awesome and so true.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, Tom. So how can people reach you or find you?
They can find me on my YouTube channel, Frugal Preppers Garage and Garden. If you just search for Frugal Prepper, it'll find me. I have a backup channel called Frugal Preppers Extras because my channel got hacked a couple months ago or a few months
Oh
ago.
no.
Took me a week to get it back. So now I'll have a backup channel. I can let people know what's going on. Um, and they can always email me.
Nice.
Um, my email address is tom@frugalprepper.rocks.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And I will put that all in the show notes
Okay.
if anyone wants to reach out to you, but also. Okay, cool. I guess that's it. Tom,
Okay.
was super nice talking to you. I hope we can talk again. Absolutely.
Okay.